What's the pettiest reason you've rejected someone? No matter what evidence I presented, even if I went and bought a snake skeleton, she would never believe that snakes had bones, but they're so round. No way they have bones. That's not petty. She proved that she couldn't understand when she was wrong. That is a huge problem. You'd have to kill a snake right in front of her. She had the same name as my mom. I just couldn't. Final write it Martha. His name was Phil. My name is Lil. Lean into it, put a bow in your hair. Both wear dungarees. It'll be fun. Her name was one letter off from my mom's. I love this whole thread. Everyone reads like the B plot of a scene-filled episode. I dated someone with the exact same name as my mum. Let me tell you, you spared yourself a lot of jokes. She has man hands. My ex's name was Simone. She was studying business administration and had a horse. We broke up after she trucked another dude. I got over it and met another girl. Her name was Simone. She was studying business administration and had a horse. Nope. The second one was Simtwo. I hope you find Simone different. Dude. That was the same person, just with an attached mustache. I was 13 and had been dating a girl for about 2 months. We were playing Jenga and I noticed that she only drew from the middle, never once from the sides. It made me feel like she was timid and boring. That the moment I lost attraction to her and broke up with her not long after. All these years later, I'm timid and boring and she's absolutely wild. I was still pissing myself at 13. This is fascinating. Turns out she wasn't timid and boring, but just played to win. This should be higher. It is the very essence of petty to break up over Jenga block selection. I got rejected because I was a Libra. Jew Street VRGOT high NGS. If they reject you for being sign, they'll also excuse all their crappy behavior by being other sign. I hate people who decide everything about them is based on astrological signs, especially when it badly affects other people. TBH. You dodged a bullet. They won't let their dog walk. When they walk, their dog would carry the poor little fecker around. Edit. How is this my most liked comment? I like to think it was a Great Dane. Imagine asking a dog if they wanna go for a walk and they just shrug with indifference because they know they're about to be carried around the block. What's even the point then? LMAO. First day he visited my app, he opened the kitchen cabinet without asking. Saw my kid's vitamins and said 2 gummies. And started to shove them in his mouth. There's a whole subcategory of hood memes that involve dating single mothers and eating all their kids' fruit snacks and drinking their Capri-Suns. Edit. Well, didn't expect this to blow up or so many people interested in these memes. Check out Hoodvlonig. That's where I've seen a lot of them. That's actually hilarious. Who would raid someone's cupboard and start eating their food without asking? Even my 5-year-old has better manners than that. Those vitamin gummies taste so gross though. He probably got what he deserved. Edit. People who say you actually like your gummy vitamins, could you tell us what brand/type they are? Ours taste kinda like glue to me. Although my kids seem to like them, so maybe it's just me. So I'd love to find some that are tasty. I was the one rejected. But the reason I was given was I've been rejected a lot. I want to know what it feels like to reject someone. Their best friend told me they were interested in me too. You definitely dodged a bullet there, pal. Edit. Spelling mistake NVM. He used too many exclamation points. No really. Similarly, hate those people who use ellipses like this all the time. Bye. She smelled funny. Not bad. It clearly wasn't a case of not washing or anything like that. She just smelled weird. Couldn't get over it. Edit. For clarification, I didn't know how to broach the whole I like you and you're funny and smart and intercourse is great, but you smell weird. So I just moved to a different country. A smelly smell that smells smelly. My wife said she was having second thoughts after our first 2 dates because of a weird smell. Like not necessarily a deal breaker but close. Turns out it was the jacket I was wearing. Nice Mountain Hardwear tetchy fleece thing. Loved that jacket. But apparently it smelled just a tiny bit like soup. It went mysteriously missing on our 3rd date. Never to be seen again. To this day my wife denies any involvement in the disappearance. But I have my suspicions. We could have just tried. Yeah, no. Washing it? To be clear, I definitely just lost it, but it's fun to imply it was secretly thrown in the river in some elaborate scheme. Not me, but a girl I hung out with in high school once dumped her boyfriend because she didn't like his socks. She's married with 2 kids now. Her husband's got mad sock game. V. She knew what she wanted. Really nice guy. Looked just like my dad's old high school photos. Couldn't get past it. I broke up with a guy after my now sister-in-law saw a picture of him and said he looked like my brother, whom she was dating at the time. Your anti-incest instincts kicked in. That's not petty at all. I was once rejected by the color of my text bubble. I have an Android. She has an iPhone. It was not meant to be. Edit. RIP my inbox. Thanks. She had iOS. He had Android. Can I make it any more obvious? He didn't have soap at his apt, even by the 3rd date. No soap anywhere at his place. No dish soap even. He never smelled or anything. But just weirded me out. Perhaps he licked himself clean and rinsed the saliva off. Could work. Will there be soap next visit? Find out in the next episode of The Soap. Where is the soap? By the 3rd date I would be like, I have to use your bathroom, then ask where they keep their hand soap due to needing to wash my hands. Hell. Get milkshakes. Spill some down your hand. Ask for soap. I would be too curious to end it without knowing. My brother had a roommate who would bathe and get ready for work in like 3 minutes. My brother couldn't believe anyone could bathe that fast, so he hid his soap one day just to see. For 2 weeks straight, the dude would go into the bathroom to take a bath and be out in 5 minutes. No questions asked about the soap. That was still fine until he told my brother that not only did he take a bath in those 5 minutes, but also took a dump. No soap anywhere. Maybe he hid his precious soap. We had promised to see the same movie together, and when I showed up to go see the film they had already seen it. I'm upfront about this with most of the guys I date. 9 times out of 10 I've already seen the movie with my grandfather. Not dating. But I had a friend with whom I saw all major Marvel films while they were in theaters. All the way to Infinity War. When I asked if he wanted to go see Endgame, he said he saw it with some other friends and didn't feel like going again. This was never a tradition we explicitly made, but I still felt a bit betrayed. A 10-year journey and he ditched me at the last mile. She ate a banana sideways, would hold it horizontally, peel it and take bites from the side, like corn on the cob. Would she eat corn on the cob long ways? That is Seinfeld level petty. She's a side eater. She eats a banana sideways like corn on the cob. He didn't use pillowcases. He owned them, but never actually put them on the pillows. I've walked right out of planned hookups with several dudes who didn't use bedsheets. No idea why this is as common as it is. So gross. Dude kissed me open-mouthed with relaxed lips. Not meant as a makeout kiss, that was a quick kiss. Just opened his mouth and smashed his face into mine, then pulled back. Who edit? I ignore my notifications for like 3 days and my least insightful comment blows up XD. Thanks for all the love. This was really cool. I've never had anything get this many upvotes before. It's like the dead fish handshake. But for kisses. You should have done it back. Just both flop against each other's faces. My 7-month-old kisses people like this. Dated a guy who was colorblind. He'd argue with me about the color blue-green, even if I was the only person in the relationship who could actually see blue-green. My husband used to drive me crazy with this poop. Took months for me to convince him he was actually colorblind. Not me, but my friend once rejected a girl for not liking the band Tool, and she was such a nice lady too. Edit. I wake up to 9,000 of you making puns that he is the Tool as a Tool fan. That definitely sounds like a Tool fan. Haha, what a terrible reason. Classic Tool fan. She gave me a hug and a budger that was stuck to her nose got on my shirt, and for some reason I never recovered. It's been 10 years, and I still haven't forgotten. Friend of mine saw that her boyfriend had a budger somewhere near his nose. He kissed her, and she realized that the budger was no longer there. So she decided to hug/cuddle for 10 minutes, rubbing her face against his t-shirt. Edit. My most upvoted comment is about someone's budger. Nice. I blocked someone once because he used emojis in weird ways. Hey, how's it going? I see you live close by. Maybe we could hook up like biatch. I'm not here to learn ASL. Stop it. Especially when they text like this. This dude was super sweet and had a lot of good qualities. He was a plumber and casually admitted to me that sometimes he will bite/clean his nails after work and taste the remnants of what he touched that day. I could not get over that and had to move on. Edit. A few people have mentioned it's not petty, but I feel like it is, and I should probably expand on that. Things were really going great. Like he said all the right things, and he was a genuinely good person with similar interests, up until the point he said that. I was considering moving forward with the relationship. Also, I see nail biting as a habit that could be changed, and even practicing better hygiene, which he mostly did. Except for those damn nails. Once he said it, and he was serious, my views and feelings for him changed. It's just one thing that completely turned me off from him. And thanks for the funny comments. I'm at work and needed a good laugh. What did I just read? Plumbing is all fun and games when talking about pipes and thinking of clean drinking water flowing through them. But when considering that most plumbing has to do with wastewater and raw sewage, this has to be one of the nastiest things I've ever heard. Ever. She doesn't drink water. Ronaldo would be proud of you. Her toenails were so long. Whenever she was nearby you could hear clicking from the ground, as if she was a dog. Edit. Wow, this really blew up. Thanks for the awards, kind strangers. And yes, she is real and I'm not making this up. For anyone asking how she functioned, I guess she was okay walking around with fungal nails and one shoe size above her normal. The nails kinda curved down so they'd fit snugly into the shoe. What in the world did I just read? That's disturbing. The way he smelled. He smelled like cooking oil or something weird. And his whole house did. It was overpowering. I couldn't do it. This scares me because I have a literal fear of what I smell like. They texted me wow instead of hi. I got irritated just reading that. See also, people who text with a stutter. HUO. How are you today? I truckin' hate that. Edit. My most rated comment is about something that irritates me. I'm not sure how I feel. Went on a first date with someone that was out of my league. Couldn't believe my luck. On our way to dinner, everything was going fine and the conversation was flowing. She seemed really into me. Suddenly she screamed at me to stop the car, not pull over. Stop right here right now immediately in the suicide lane of a 4-lane major road. Just before I came to a complete stop in the middle of this busy road, she opened the passenger door and tried to jump out. If a cop saw all this it probably looked like she was escaping a kidnapping. She jumped out of the car and played Frogger across 2 lanes of traffic. And I sat there stunned with my passenger door hanging open into traffic. A few seconds later, she came running back with something under her arm. I couldn't see what it was in the mirror. She had a huge smile on her face, and as she climbed back into the car she squealed with delight as she showed me what it was. A freaking hubcap. She said it was to commemorate our first date, and that we could share custody of it. I could have it first. That was our first and last date. I'm now imagining her doing something similar after every first date. Like that's just her move. You kept the hubcap though, right? That's some manic pixie dream girl poop right there. She would call me every single day like 2 minutes after I clocked out from work. I asked her several times to just give me an hour before she called. Let me get home first. I had a 45-minute drive home, that was my decompression time. Blast the radio and get over the day's BS. She couldn't do it. That hour was too much to ask, but I couldn't wait to hear your voice, so I broke it off. My friends tell me that's incredibly petty. I feel like she can't respect simple boundaries, and it will be a big problem later. Boundaries definitely aren't petty. Yeah, not petty. Every time I asked what she would like to do it was an annoying I don't know. I also once stopped seeing a girl because I felt like I had to encourage her to make choices all the time. I think autonomy and initiative/sensation seeking are super attractive character traits. And I couldn't imagine being with someone who doesn't possess those traits. Edit. Typo. Went on a day hike with him. Halfway through the hike we came upon a spotted skunk. I started backing off, and when he asked why I told him it was a skunk, he argued with me. saying it was a weasel not a skunk because skunks have stripes and that I obviously don't know what you're talking about. When I kept insisting, he said I'll prove it to you. As he started walking towards it. Famous last words lol. Anyway, he gets sprayed obviously. We have to cut our hike short. And I make him ride in the bed of my pickup on the way home. I called it off after that, mainly because he didn't listen to me, and I hate being told I don't know what I'm talking about when I know what the facts are. I'm interested to know how he responded after he got sprayed. Did he eat deuce metaphorically? I know he did literally, and apologize profusely, and admit to idiocy? He thought Vikings were mythical creatures created by Hollywood. Then talked about how this TV show Tudors was interesting, and not knowing that Henry VIE was a real king. Although I do understand that the TV show is not faithful to history at 100%. Also he stated that math was not real because one apple is not the same as other apple, and how math can explain that. Basically too ignorant, way too ignorant. It was complicated to have a decent conversation. I need to know more about this Apple theory. Edit. Why would my phone autocorrect apple to apple? He sounds like flat earther level idiot. Not petty. Had same name as a horrible ex / bothered me every time I said name. I dated someone with my daughter's name. There were other reasons for breaking up, but it always made me feel uncomfortable. Edit. You'll need to find Jesus. No. I did not get her to call me daddy. She laughed like Butthead. You should have laughed like Beavis. You would have made a great couple. He would only walk on tiptoes. No medical reason. Just tiptoed about like a burglar in a cartoon. Edit. To everyone saying they feel called out. The person getting called out is me. It's a petty reason to reject someone. My ex still has this. But for her, it's a problem with the length of the tendons in her calves. She has to permanently wear heeled shoes. Even around the house. Because it's more comfortable than having to tiptoe. The corrective stuff she had as a kid just never took, and now she's stuck like this for life, unless she has surgery that would leave her unable to walk for months. He just couldn't / wouldn't understand menstruation. I explained it to him as best I could. He had 5 sisters. We were 16 over 17 years old. I wasn't with a guy yet, but really liked him. I was super put off and lost interest when he asked why don't we just sit on the toilet and let it all out at once instead of wearing pads, and then refused to listen to my explanation of how periods actually work because it was gross. Like, I can forgive ignorance to some extent, but I can't forgive refusal to learn. Friday, June 18th, 2021. He didn't know the difference between your and year. Edit on Saturday, June 20th. 2021. Thanks for the wholesome hugs and silver awards. 9300 karma and counting makes this my highest voted Reddit comment so far. Sounds like you dodged a bullet there. He said the sunsets in my state weren't good. I think he was just never outside at the right time because he was a dumbass who didn't realize the mountains to the west mean the sun sets earlier. Also he told me he was done growing. I clarified I meant mental and emotional growth, and he was like, nope, I'm done. He was 25, and I was horrified by that. Yikes, especially to the second one. His mum went away for a week and he reheated a lasagne. Took a slice out and put it back in the fridge. He did this every night, reheating the entire lasagne each time. Surprisingly he didn't get food poisoning, but I just couldn't handle that. He was so nice, but just not the smartest guy. I had an ex who I asked to put a pizza in the oven, and he did. I took a bite out of it when it was done and realized had left the plastic film on and it melted into the pizza. I thought it was just weird cheese at first. He then blamed me for making him cook poor people food that he didn't know how to cook. Cause his mum apparently didn't buy that stuff. His mum did buy that stuff cause it talked to her about food recommendations before. The reason he didn't know is cause his mum cooks every meal for him and he never sees it before it's finished. He assumed she makes everything from scratch. I once stopped talking to a girl because she kept putting everywhere in texts. It's so ominous. See you later. Have a nice day. I see you met my mother. She uses them all the time. Makes me want to flip tables. About 5 seconds before having intercourse the girl said to me, do you know how lucky you are? So many guys want to truck me. I turned on the lights and asked her to leave. How did she react to that? We went bowling and she started saying the bowling ball was hurting her fingers. She was convinced that there were bugs inside the bowling ball biting her fingers and that was the reason for her pain. I don't think it's considered petty if she's absolutely out of her goddamn mind. My perpetually single friend has turned rejecting people into a bit of a sport. It'll Tinder for her, which is all sorts of amusing. But one day, I had actually met someone for lunch and thought here's someone that's kind of her type. I wonder if she'd be interested. I ended up pulling up his website and showing her some pictures of the guy. We get to about the 6th photo in, of 2 of his cats. In a treehouse. She explains his cats look bratty. Yeah. Well. That's why you're single, still. 6 years later. TF. Most cats are bratty. That's why you love them. My cat chews on my feet and hands if I don't get her wet food fast enough. Had a friend like this in college, except he would also periodically complain about not getting laid. Thing is, he got advances, but was always lusting for the hottest chick at the bar/party. It's like no crap dude, everyone wants to duck her, and she knows it. Jokes on him though, BCI had no standards, and went home with plenty of the girls he deemed fat. They were not, they just weren't the cheerleaders. He only talked about his stock portfolios and his Mercedes. We were both 26. I bet he runs Yauta bads now. On Get Rich Fast, like I did, while sitting in his same Mercedes with sunglasses and a slightly oversized suit. She didn't like my new haircut. Damn, even after you got rid that yee ass haircut. He was just too darn tall. He was 6'10", I'm less than 5 foot. Just trying to make eye contact with him made my neck sore. I couldn't fathom how anything else would work. Of course it didn't help him making a joke about how strangers would think he's a pedophile, because next to him, I looked like a child. Pro tip, that's a 100% effective way to get a lady to not like you. I'm 52 and very briefly dated someone who was 67. He kept using my head as an armrest, particularly if we were in line for something, though he did stop doing that after I bit his elbow. I dumped him because he liked playing head games, like the whole distance so you'll like me more crap. Even at 19, I just did not have the time or energy for that crap. Years ago when Tinder was semi-new, I went on a date with a dude that forgot to disclose that he had epilepsy. I didn't have a problem with that. The problem started when he started having a seizure, so I got help and called an ambulance. He bitched at me for calling an ambulance, left me several voicemails the following day screeching at me for being a horrible person, leaving him with an ambulance bill. Edit. I live in America, where the medical system is a joke. When the ambulance arrived and helped my date through the seizure, he was okay and aware of what happened after that. They had asked him, do you have any medication we should know about? etc, and he said yes, I have a prescription, but I don't like to take it. I haven't taken it in a few weeks. I was completely blindsided, yet understanding, of how someone would refuse to take their medication, but geez. I met my boyfriend in Tinder, and he has epilepsy. After 2 weeks chatting we agreed to meet. The day before meeting he told me about the epilepsy and explained to me what to do in case something happened. He reassured me he hadn't had a seizure for 20 years, but to be ready just in case.